Hello my dear ones from Phuket in 2022. A year after my very big Phuket Beach Report, I'm back here to give you a little update about how it's going here on the island right now. Well, one thing I can say already now, the tourists are coming back again, but it's not masses yet. You can still enjoy the island and its nature without big pollution, without rubbish lying around, without screaming masses of tourists. Right now you can enter Thailand again without quarantine, without tests, as long as you're fully vaccinated. It's really pretty easy again, and this is the right moment. And also now in rainy season, the prices are really low, especially after the crisis. Now the prices are just unbeatable low, and you see there's some tourists here, but no masses, no screaming masses of selfie-taking tourists like me now. So this is the right time to come. Rainy season and just after the crisis. And now let's have a look at some other places here on the island. And here we are at Harn Beach. Now look at this. There's quite a number of tourists here right now. I mean, there's many tourists at the moment from India, Pakistan, also some, well, nobody from China, of course, nobody from Russia, more or less, and some Europeans, and that's that actually. But you see, it's just very beautiful here now. Even in the peak of the crisis, there were a couple of tourists over here, but now it's clearly more. You're actually not allowed to swim here except in this very small part of the beach where it says swim here, because the waves are still too high from the very strong winds of the last couple of days. But yeah, as you see, it's just wonderful. Perfect day for the beach in rainy season. After the big monsoon rain, there's the cicadas shouting again or screaming again, but there's no tourist masses screaming yet. And we are up here at the beautiful Karon viewpoint. We are seeing Karon Beach in the background and Kata Yai Beach in the middle, and in the front Kata Noi Beach. And in front of the beaches you see the little uninhabited island. And now we are in rainy season. That means some days are very rainy and some days are just wonderful, like this one. You can just drive around the island and enjoy so many beautiful views. And here we are at the big Buddha, with a beautiful view over Chalong Bay, then Chalong Temple on the left side, in the background Phuket town. And this is a really good time now because, I mean, the tourists are back, as you can see, but the masses are not back yet. So you see there's some tourists, and then you have the beautiful big Buddha, but not screaming masses that are pushing you away because they want to have a better picture than you. So this is a good time, and you look, Chalong Bay is just a very nice bay. You see the big pier, then you see the islands of Phuket, and yeah, it's just a very nice view. And look over here, we are in Kata Yai Beach. Look how beautiful it is. I mean, the beach is more or less gone. You see maybe a quarter of the beach left, and the reason is that there were really strong storms in the last couple of days. Very heavy rain, and there was just causing huge waves. They were just blowing the beach away, more or less. But the beach is gonna be back in a very short moment. And anyway, it's so beautiful now. Look at this. I mean, you can take long walks, and even in rainy season you have sometimes rainy days, like the last past days they were crazy rainy. But then you have this again, very mild temperature, you can walk forever. You can even take a swim today because there's no red flags today here on the beach. But it might also be that somebody just forgot to put out the red flags. Who knows? The Kata Noi Beach has always been a very beautiful beach. Today it's sunny but still very windy, and you can just enjoy a little walk along this beautiful beach. Unfortunately, most of the beach is occupied by the Kata Thani Hotel. However, you can have a drink by the beach bar maybe and just enjoy this beach. Also, one thing, you can only access the beach through a very small walkway because the rest is more or less privately owned by the hotel, except for the beach itself. That's of course public. And here we are at the Hill Cafe, and that's one of the not so many places in Phuket where you can have really good coffee and also cake. That's worth the name. They have really good cake, they have good croissant that can be called croissant, and also Danish, and they have brownies of course, and they make even macaron that really taste like good macaron, and here all kinds of cakes. And I have a cheesecake, and well, you see also the interior is really very nice, leather seats. You saw that already in my big Phuket report last year, but now in the rainy season it's also nice. You can sit outside. It's like being in air condition but with a good kind of air. And you see, you get cappuccino like in a really good cafe in Italy, and then you have this beautiful strawberry cheesecake along with a little branch of rosemary and strawberry, and you can shovel your cake with this little thing instead of a spoon. And on top of that you have fantastic air. You are having this beautiful humid air, not hot but really in a very good temperature, so it cannot get better than this in rainy season. One year ago I was here at Karon Beach for my Phuket Beach Report, actually the biggest Phuket report and beach report about this island on all of English and also German YouTube. And here we are back again in rainy season, just after the peak of the crisis. The crisis is over more or less, and you see on the left side the Beyond Karon resort is open again, and on the right side you see these beautiful pavilions. That's the Phuket Marina Resort that's open again too, and that's where I did another hotel report also last year. Very beautiful hotel, by the way, very special one, beautiful pavilions. Anyway, on a day like this in rainy season, there's no rain, but you should just use it for a beautiful walk. Even though the sun is out, the waves are a little too strong, but it's wonderful to walk and amazing air. Patong is the beating heart of Phuket's west coast. During the crisis, however, it looked more like a ghost town. Almost all of the countless souvenir and clothing stands had to give up. Almost all restaurants and bars were closed, and even the notorious Bangla Road was pitch black at night. Now it's getting pretty loud again, and life is coming back here. And also the reopening of the two large malls, Junk Salon and Central, is planned for fall 2022. So those spooky times seem to be over for now. I'm not exactly a fan of going out to bars, but I found a good tailor here instead, and I had one of my favorite black shirts copied in several patterns. A good idea for a visit to the tailor. If you like my flight and travel reports, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do it right now with the bell notification. It costs you just one click. I'm really happy, and you're making a big difference for the future of this channel. Beautiful Thalang Street in the center of Phuket town is always busy, but of course during the crisis and at the peak of the crisis, you could really see that a lot of shops were closed. They were mostly catering to tourists, but still there's so many other shops. It's always great to walk here. Now the tourists are coming back more and more, and more shops are open again. And anyway, it's always really great to walk through this street. And it's also really worthwhile going to a cafe or two, because they're very nice and very different from each other. For example, the Bookhemian Cafe, where I go every time. Every time I visit Phuket town, I just come in here, and they have not only great coffee, but also very nice smell of coffee. And it's not a Thai style cafe, but it's more New York style, I would say. A loft atmosphere, and you get not only coffee but also some really nice souvenirs. You can buy little coffee pots or even nice hand-drawn postcards. So it's worth a visit. Especially in rainy season, visiting a mall has practical advantages. Only the large central mall near Phuket town, with its, for European standards, unimaginably clean, beautiful customer toilets, was open throughout the crisis. The Chinese tourists who used to shop big at Louis Vuitton and Gucci are still really missing, but there's lots of other nice things to buy over here. I also revisited the Diamond Cliff Resort and Spa. At the end of April, there's always particularly good offers when they sell vouchers for rainy season, so I stayed at a pool villa again. Even when there's a storm coming up, you can have a great time over here. However, not everything was top-notch this time, and prices are rising rapidly again. This, what you see here, is gonna have a very different price next year, because that's clearly going up. It doesn't always have to be 5 stars. Here, for example, you could stay in a pretty 3-star room, not luxurious, but less than $20 a day. And I was the only guest. And there's the Thon Resort, proud sitting on the side of Thon Beach. Thon Beach is such a beautiful beach. I really love this beach. There's not many people here. I mean, of course, the wind is very strong, the waves are very strong. You see, the waves took off half the beach almost. But still, there's some tourists, and there's more tourists than a year ago, even with this weather. Still, it's almost nobody here, so I can dare to come to this beach even with this hat. In my very comprehensive beach report about Phuket, I also talk about this beach over here, Nai Yang Beach. That's a perfect beach for families with kids, because it has the most shallow waters here, and even today on a very stormy day, you see that the waves are there. They're quite big compared to the other times, but still in the other beaches you just cannot go in the water, but here you can give it a try. It's still quite okay. And you see, it's just a very beautiful, very long beach, and there's not many tourists. A little more than used to be last year, but still perfect if you don't want to have crowds all around you. Of course, it's far away from the party life, but that's a great thing too, actually. When the sun is out, but also on a rainy day, a longer road trip can be worthwhile, because now you can leave the island again by car and visit the neighboring provinces of Phang-Nga and Krabi without problems. Of course, here on my reality TV it rained all day, but that doesn't matter if you want to visit some cave temples or bathe under a waterfall, and Phang-Nga offers all of that. On the border to Krabi, there's also a really hidden and unexpected temple complex, the Wat Bang Thong, or simply Wat Bang Thong. Surrounded by rubber and oil palm plantations, its size is truly surprising and impressive, and in its Thai Indian style, the spectacular temple with its 70-meter tall spire is a great change from the usual glittering temples of Thailand. A visit is absolutely worthwhile on both sunny and rainy days. A great finale for such a day trip can be a visit to a restaurant in Phang-Nga province, not too far from the island, because the culinary specialties here are far from the usual, and when the monsoon rain is coming down really hard and loud, a visit is really quite some experience. So my dear ones, I'm actually super tired right now, but this is a place you cannot miss. It's a place called Klang restaurant or Krua Klang. And it's first of all has an amazing location that's more or less in the middle of the jungle in Phang-Nga, very close to Phuket, and it has really fantastic food. And first of all, they have soft shell crab. That's the moment when the crabs lose or exchange their skin to a new one. Then they're soft for a moment, then that's when they're caught and fried. Very mean, but very, very tasty too. So this is the soft shell crab. But then they have also wonderfully fragrant chicken pieces in pandan leaves. Then they have tom kha kai in a very beautiful green version. And then for the really strong stomachs like mine, you have frogs fried with garlic. This is over here. And then you have beautiful pork belly. Look at this. Beautiful, sweet and spicy. So first of all, the tom kha kai. I mean, it's very known, very famous soup anyway in Thailand, but here they have a very nice and fragrant way to make it and also to cook it. I mean, and also not spicy at all, like zero spicy, and just incredibly tasty. And now we move over to the chicken with pandan leaves, and pandan leaves are actually very fragrant, very aromatic. There's a lot of desserts that are made with pandan leaves or pandan leaf extract. There's like coconut desserts, but there's also tea with pandan leaves, and also this version, the grilled chicken, or sometimes like this one, fried chicken in pandan leaf. And now we're moving over to the piggy part, so to say. That's the pork, and this is actually pork belly in a sweet, lightly spicy tomato sauce. And it's super fat, you can see it's really pork belly, but it's so worth the calories.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Just amazing. And then we're moving over to the soft shell crab, and they're fried with garlic, and you dip it in a little sauce here and then just enjoy it. It's just an amazing dish, very special for this area when it comes to seafood. And once you see that on the menu, you should really order it. You don't get it on the other places. And then we come to the part where you maybe eat it rather when you're more used to the area, and that's frogs. And that's not just frog legs, but the whole frogs. They deep fried here with garlic, and you can just dip it in the sauce or just eat it without the sauce. And it's just great. And they don't just pull out the legs and leave the whole body there, but they just take the whole frog. I mean, it's never nice to kill an animal, but here at least you eat the whole frog. And it's very delicious, and of course very local. And then another specialty is this here. You have vegetables that's deep fried and really crunchy. You maybe hear the crunch, and then they have a prawn on top of it. Super tasty, super recommended. And here we are again at the sea. I hope you enjoyed this update for 2022 and that it also provided good information. Phuket is so much more than just Patong Beach. There's so many beaches waiting for you, from small secluded beaches to fully developed world-class beaches with 5-star hotels and many inland attractions. The area is also great when it comes to good food. Have a look at my reports Eating Better in Phuket and Phuket Off the Beaches. And of course, check out my comprehensive beach report in which I present all the great beaches of the island. While we're seeing all the beaches of my big beach report in the background, here are a few words about the development in Phuket during the recent crisis and the situation right now. Travel to Thailand is possible again without quarantine and without tests for fully vaccinated tourists. If there's no serious new crisis, it will stay that way. The COVID crisis not only made travel to Thailand very difficult for quite some time, but above all, it threw the country into a severe economic crisis with thousands of individual sad stories. The signs are now pointing to recovery, even if it will take a while before everything is back to pre-crisis levels. The long absence of the financially strong Chinese tourists is particularly serious. Nature, however, has benefited incredibly from the temporary stop of mass tourism. In just a few months, animals that hadn't dared to get close to the beaches could be seen there again. There are more fish again in the sea, and some corals have recovered faster than expected. Now the beaches are getting fuller again, but compared to pre-crisis times, they are still pleasantly empty. But you won't be able to see birds catching fish here for much longer. After the resort towns seemed like ghost towns at the height of the crisis, many restaurants have now reopened and nightlife is picking up too, particularly in Patong. COVID has changed the world, and risk-free travel is no longer that easy, no matter where in the world, because even if nobody wants to say it anymore, COVID remains a reality even without tests. With a few simple precautions, however, nothing stands in the way of a great holiday. As you might have noticed, I find Phuket very beautiful even in rainy season. The activities just shift a little. Intensive sunbathing, snorkeling in the crystal clear waters or relaxed splashing around in the calm sea is rarely possible in the period from May to October. Climate change has also arrived in Thailand, and the seasons seem a bit shifted here too. If you want a lot of sun, the famous turquoise blue waters with great underwater views for snorkeling and swimming without waves, you have to go there during high season. Currently, the time for a trip to Thailand is ideal because you can still experience fantastic nature, uncrowded restaurants and beautiful beaches. Tourists are now coming back quickly and prices are rising again accordingly. Soon you will have to share most of the many beautiful corners of Thailand and Phuket with many other travelers again. The way you can experience the country now will no longer be possible then, because Phuket and the whole country will continue to be among the top destinations and the best and most varied travel destinations worldwide in the future. Have you been to Phuket or Thailand in general lately? Do you know the island from the time before the crisis, or do you finally want to travel there? Or are you in the kingdom right now, and what are your impressions? I'm very happy to read all your thoughts in the comments, and if you have any questions, I'll answer them for sure. Stay healthy, stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, thumbs up, thank you for watching, and see you soon again here on Travel, Sing, Fly.